Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. This time we are going to rescue Valentina. This is happening. No matter how long it takes, no matter what I have to do aside from cheating, we're going to do this. Now, something I overlooked last time that I explained even on camera, but for some reason completely forgot about myself, is taking missions to get the advance. And because we upgraded our mission control building, we can still take 5 more contracts. So clearly what I need to do is go through all these, find the contracts that advance the most amount of money, and use them to build a rocket that is going to actually do that. This one advances 16,000, 12, 9, 8, 5, 7, and almost 8. So we'll take this one as well. 9,000, we'll take that one. We can do 5 more. Alright, and it's going to be this one. And then lastly, this one. Alright, so now we have $61,000 to work with. Okay. Let's take a quick look up here. Valentina's still spinning around, doing her thing. To get rid of that limit of 30 parts to build rockets, we'd have to upgrade the VAB, but that costs $225,000. It'll give us a max parts of 255, but we don't have that much money. So, what we're going to do is we're going to build an appropriate rescue rocket under 30 parts. Let's give it a shot. I should point out, now that I'm noticing this, when you accept contracts to test parts that you haven't already unlocked in the tech tree, they actually let you use those parts. They're marked with a blue background here, so I do have rockets and other things that I wouldn't normally have at this point. I think it's just... yeah, so we have this Ant liquid fuel engine, which is teeny tiny. This is the Poodle. This is for the next larger tier of tanks. And then a Kickback solid fuel booster, similar to the Thumper. For example, this is the size of a Thumper. The Kickback is that size. So quite the booster. Definitely for the larger rockets, but we don't really need it right now. Alright, that's our rescue craft. Jebediah is the pilot. We have enough to build it. We're going to go ahead, save it, roll overwrite the other one. The other one was kind of trash, and launch. Alright, here we are on the launch pad. We'll go, I'll turn the SAS on. We're going to put the throttle at about 2/3, because we don't, in fact we're going to put it at 1/3, because we don't need to use the liquid fuel rockets, because these SRBs are going to give us most of the boost that we need. Alright, let me put that up there. Set up our position here. Valentina is currently over there, but that's okay. And here we go. Okay, now that we're in orbit, we're going to do Left click on Valentina's ship and click select set as target. Now her orbit is highlighted in yellow, and a few more markers have appeared on the screen, and those will be our ascending and descending nodes. And that basically tells us how inclined our orbit is compared to our target's orbit. If you look at our blue highlighted orbit, it's slightly below Valentina's, because we're looking at Valentina's orbit straight from the side. So what we need to do at these points, this is basically where we want to change the inclination of our orbit. We'll click on the ascending node and add a maneuver. Now our magenta triangles, if we move those up and down, whoops, if we move those up and down, we change the, yeah, get out of here. Alright, we change the degrees in which we need to go, and what we need to do is make sure they get down to 0.0 or as close as that as possible. In this case, that maneuver will not take very much, just 19 meters per second. We'll point here. Now if we click along our path, we go to warp to next maneuver. The auto warp will automatically take us to about 1 minute ahead of the maneuver. That gives us plenty of time to move our ship, make sure everything is set up and working properly. And once you're ready, you could just sit here, or you could use the manual buttons to time advance until you're about where you need to be. Now the thing about the estimated burn times is you want those times to give me 1 second, let me do this first. I overshot by way too much. Sometimes you don't need to go full throttle, which is what I did and what you shouldn't do. Because if you overshoot, you have to like turn around and make up what you went over. But let me demonstrate with maneuvers. If you set a maneuver here and you have an estimated burn time, what you want to do is you want to take your estimated burn time, divide it by 2. In this case it would be 18.5. And then you want to your node in T-minus 2 minutes. At 18.5 seconds, half of your estimated burn time is when you want to start your burn. So your estimated burn time basically is so the 0 marker is right in the middle of the amount of time you should be burning. So at 37 seconds, half of that is 18.5. You should start 18.5 seconds before 0, so that you will continue to burn 18.5 seconds after 0, putting you at 37. That's how I've been taught, and how people will show you to do maneuver burns. But alright, our descending node is at 0, which is good, it's what we want. Now, because we are in a lower orbit than Valentina, our ship is going to be moving faster. See, here our velocity is 2,258.8 meters per second. Valentina's is 2171.3, so she is going probably about 80 meters per second slower than we are. So because of this, we will orbit faster, and at this moment we will continue to stay ahead of her. So what we're going to do is we're going to set up a maneuver, and we're going to bring our orbit out toward hers, if not completely parallel to hers, or farther. See, as our orbits get close, these intercept markers appear, and there's 2 different colors. There's orange and purple, or magenta, and sometimes they'll be together as one, or they'll be in 2 sets. And these basically show that where the target will be at intercept 1 or 2. Let me see if I can't. There we go. So the target when you reach intersect 1 and 2, which are both right here, this is where the target is going to be. So the separation is well over 1,000 kilometers. We want these to be as close to each other as possible, so the separation is as low as possible. That way we will be right there within the same small area of space with them. And that's when we can do a crew transfer or docking maneuver or any other thing that you would need to do a rendezvous for. Now, doing rendezvous maneuvers around the planet and doing crew transfers is something that will give us a milestone achievement. So keep an eye out for that, and those will give us more money and reputation and signs. Okay, so I got quite a distance to make up here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to... Her orbit is at 150 kilometers. I'm going to put our orbit at 200. Now these are basically what the target will be during 2 different intercepts, one of which will be over here, the other will be over here. So basically when we pass them going outside of their orbit, and then we pass them when we come inside their orbit. As we go outside, farther away from the planet than their orbit, we will start moving slower, which hopefully will give them a chance to catch up to us, since we are technically ahead of them in the direction that we are both orbiting. So I'm going to go ahead and point our ship in the proper position, and sure enough, we were at the at the node. I wasn't even paying attention, and I got to stop doing that. No, I hit the wrong button. The problem with the full throttle and the no throttle buttons is that they're right next to each other, and if you're not watching where you're putting your fingers, you're hitting the wrong thing, which is what I just did. I could just keybind them a little farther away, but at the same time I like having them under one hand. Okay, so now we are on our way outside the orbit. We're going to warp right to our apoapsis now. Because what we're going to do here is we're going to bring our periapsis out to run parallel with Valentina's orbit. We're not going to set up a maneuver node because I know we just need to point prograde and then turn on our engines. And watch as our periapsis reaches about 150. Okay. So now at this point it's a lot of waiting. What we're going to do is we're going to advance time warp as fast as we can, which at this point is 100, because we can only warp faster than 100 while below a certain altitude. But as we spin around, these intersect markers will change because we are gradually losing speed as we orbit the planet. See, our separation here is 848 kilometers as opposed to the 1,100 it was before. As both of our ships make another pass, now it's at 655 kilometers. Now the orange and the purple being close together does not matter because one is for intersect 1 and one is for intersect 2. And that doesn't help us. Now it's at 448. The tricky thing about doing time warps like this is you got to keep an eye on your electric charge, because if you don't, if you're using up electricity, and right now we don't have anything that makes electricity, no alternators or solar panels, that electricity can run out when you're not paying attention. 232. Alright, I think at the second, not this next pass, but the second one we should be... No, it will be this one. Okay, good. Somewhere along this path, we will be very close to each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to kill our time warp. I'm going to point us retrograde, and I'm going to lower our orbit to be closer to theirs. Slowly but surely. Alright, we have an intersect over here at about 208 kilometers. I'm hoping we can do better, but I don't think we can. 213, yeah, it's just going up now. Alright, I'm going to take our orbit out just a little bit now. Because we still haven't made up all the speed we haven't lost all the speed we need to. Go with that. We're gonna time warp again. Some of these intersects are at about 150 kilometers. That's pretty good. We can do better, and we're going to. Time warp further. See, we're slowing down some more. They're getting closer. Our next separation will be at about 70 kilometers. Right now the distance is at about 70, going less. On our nav ball, our retrograde all of our markers have basically changed to focus on the target vessel instead of our own orbit. And what this does is this allows us to adjust our orbit in relation to the other vessel, making it much easier to match their course and speed. But we're going to switch back to our orbit at this point because we want to make a slight adjustment, because I don't want our closest separation to be when our orbits are not matched up. So I'm going to go ahead and lower ours to about 160. Okay. Then we'll continue time warping again. So we're still slowing down in relation to Valentina, but now our next intersect will be about distance of 32 kilometers. Now our next intersect will be at about 4.6, which is perfect. That we can work with. Alright, currently our distance is about 5 kilometers. And if we go back to our ship view and look around, our target should be marked with a target reticle, some indicator of where they are. Why isn't it showing up? Okay. They are currently... It should be back that way or that way somewhere. I wonder if that's her right there. Honestly, this stuff should be showing up. I don't know why it isn't. Alright. We start gaining distance between us. So this is now where we're going to switch back to our target indicators. What we're going to do is we're going to point retrograde. And we're going to increase speed. And as you can see, our speed relation to the target is lowering. We want this basically to be 0. Because then we'll be traveling at the exact same speed that they are, in more or less the same orbit path. Okay, now that our speed in relation to the target is at nearly 0, we're going to point our ship toward the target, which should be a purple indicator. There it is. This one right here, which means our target is back over there. And we're going to increase our speed at the target. So we basically slowed ourselves so we're traveling at the same speed that they are, and now we're moving directly toward them at what is now going to be 10 meters per second. So we can see on our map view, if we highlight over the Valentina's shuttle, our distance is 4.6 kilometers and falling. In fact, I'm going to time warp a bit so we get a little closer here. As we do this, some of the markers will show a separation. 1.8 kilometers is how close we're going to get. If it starts to look like that we are moving away from the target, then that's when we point ourselves retrograde, bring our target speed down to 0, and then point at them and then move toward them again. Just kind of rinse and repeat. That's how we do rendezvous. It's very strange. When you target a vessel, because this is targeted, when they're within, I want to say, 5 kilometers, you should be able to see them on your ship screen, like this. They got like a yellow highlighter around them. I don't know why they're not. Alright, I'm going to move us toward retrograde in relation to the target and kill our speed. Like so. I'm going to point us back at the target and proceed forward again. This time at about 5 meters per second. Scratch that. We're going to go 10. Don't want to be sitting here all day. Ah, you can kind of see Valentina's ship now. It's that little white speck that keeps appearing and disappearing against the background of Kerbal there. But we're moving toward her at about 10 meters per second. According to map view, we're about 1.4 kilometers away. So this may take a little while. I'm going to time warp, get ourselves a little closer. This shows our separation here. It's going to be at 0.2 kilometers. That's how close or far will be from them. Alright, it's getting to a point where it's hard to put the mouse over her ship just because they're so close together. Ah, there it is. There it is. It's over there. So what we're going to do is we're going to point retrograde again, bring our speed to 0, and then move in toward her. See, she stopped moving away from us. Okay, now we're going to point again at her using our target indicator here. Move toward her at another 10 meters per second. Doesn't have to be 10, it could be 5. It depends on how patient you are. But when we're getting close like this, slower is better. Alright, she's definitely getting bigger now. We're going to point retrograde. Try to kill our speed quickly. A little bit more. Ah, almost. But hey, there's Valentina. She is that close to us. Alright, now here's what we're going to do. The weird thing about these Mark I crew cabins is that there's no access to them from the outside. The access points are actually on the ends of them, which are being covered by both the command pod and the heat shield and decoupler. So the only way to rescue a Kerbal using these things is to move the person in the command pod into the crew cabin, and then have the person you're rescuing get in the crew cabin, or sorry, get into the command pod, move into the crew cabin, and then move the pilot back into the front. It's weird and stupid, but well, it's fine. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to right-click on the command pod. We're going to transfer crew, select Jebediah, and select the only other module we can move him into. Now he's in there. Now we're going to use our bracket keys up by the P button, and we're going. If you press them and you're close enough to a ship in your general area, you will switch to them. We're going to have Valentina get out. Oh, as you see on our milestone, we performed a rendezvous maneuver around Kerbal. Pretty sure we already took EVA reports. I'll take another one just in case. We have her let go. Right click on the command pod and take data. Press R. Crew report? No, can't do that. If we hit space, she'll point toward the direction that we are pointing. I'm really quick going to have her go around to the back here, up to the mystery goo container I just activated. Collect that data. She can't restore it because she's not a scientist. And we have her head over here to the rescue ship. When we get close, you can hit F to grab, and then B to board. Apparently I cannot store all of these experiments. That's okay. Alright, now Valentina is a pilot. She could pilot this just fine, but what we're going to do is, she's been sitting in a command pod for a while. I'm pretty sure she wants to just relax in not a command pod. So we're going to take Jebediah, took a little bathroom break, put him back in the command pod. For fun, let's turn the lights on. If we go to Valentina and have do an interior view, now she's resting comfortably in this what is basically an airline passenger compartment in space. It's whatever. Okay. So now Valentina's command pod will stay in orbit, and we'll try to come back and get that later. But Jebediah can now bring us home, and what we're going to do, now that we're basically on the night side of the planet, we're going to time warp first, if I can at all possible, select Valentina's craft, which is tricky because it's just barely selectable. Unset target. That gets rid of all that extra stuff on the screen, because I hate having to fight with that. We're going to warp to almost the daytime side, and this is where we're going to adjust our orbit and bring us down, hopefully by the Space Center, if I can manage it. That's our prograde marker. It's pointing us toward our retrograde, which is over here. Good. Go full throttle. Bring our periapsis down to about 30. That'll work. Go back to our ship view. What we're going to do is decouple this here. We got another milestone for performing a crew transfer near Kerbal. We got our heat shield there. That white ring is because the heat shield kind of clipped into the passenger compartment here, but it's fine. That should work. And we're going to time warp to some point below 70 kilometers. And you'll see as soon as we hit 70, our time warp automatically cancels. Just like that. So now our time warp is at ×1. I didn't press anything. There's the Space Center. I really hope we don't land on that area again, because if you saw from the last video, Jebediah still has nightmares about something that never happened, because it never happened. It's just in his head. It was a dream. Alright, I'm going to point us toward, pointing the heat shield toward retrograde there. I'm going to turn off SAS. I'm going to leave it on, actually. We have plenty of electricity. Plenty of batteries. Kind of wish I brought an extra parachute, but we'll be alright. Actually, I'm going to turn off SAS, because that way when we hit the atmosphere, the air resistance will point us naturally in the direction we want to go. The good news is we're passing over the never was a grave site of Valentina Kerman. Be careful when you're in this this physical time warp, because any maneuvers you make will be transmitted to the craft, but at like super speed. See, if I just tap the rotate button, we rotate a lot. But our ablator is doing good, keeping the heat shield. Some things are heating up. If we just keep a rotation going, that should allow the parts that heat up a chance to get out of the heat and cool down. Thankfully, Kerbans don't get nausea. They don't get airsick. They could ride roller coasters all day and night if they wanted to. So I can just spin this thing all around forever, and these two would just be right as rain. Look at them both, really happy. Jebediah's in the pilot seat, having a grand old time. Valentina's just happy to see he's coming home. I personally am happy we're coming down over water. I think when we hit this this next lighter part, lighter blue area of our atmosphere gauge is when we get out of the superheated part of the atmosphere. We don't have to worry about the redness and the overheating. Things start cooling down. Really, just it depends on how fast we're going. Sometimes we can hold on to this heat well until we're almost down on the ground, just if we're going too fast. See, I'm a liar. We were going too fast. I mean, it's dying away there. There we go. I don't have to keep spinning it now. So we switch to map view. Our orbit is shrinking, as you can see. We somehow came in on an angle, but that's alright. To the point where we're actually going to miss this area of land. Although coming down through cloud cover, last time that didn't work out so well. But we used up, I think we were at 40? We used well over 20 units of ablator there, so... I think 40 is a good minimum. 60, just in case you're worried. We are slowed down enough. I'm going to go ahead and deploy our parachute. It's daytime. I'm going to turn these lights off in the crew pod there. Can I take a crew report? I can. I'll go ahead and take that. Can I take 2 of them? Why not? We're about 2 kilometers above the surface. We're at less than a kilometer now. Parachute opens up with about 200 meters remaining. I'm going to time warp here just to bring us down quicker. And that's it. We've done it. We have brought Valentina Kerman back to the planet and performed our first rendezvous maneuver and our first rescue mission. So I'm going to call that a big old win. Go ahead and recover vessel. It wasn't without its perils and failures, as part 6 showed you. But we gained 13.7 signs for that. We recovered 1,285 funds. Jebediah didn't get any experience, but Valentina did. We'll go ahead and recover the debris out here. Alright, well, hey, look at that. We brought Valentina home. We completed our first rescue mission, our first rendezvous, in-space crew transfer, and it's all around good day. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed and you've learned something, and in the next coming videos we'll see if we can't go to the moon. Until then, you all take care.